I bet with Interbet only. They're a fantastic site. I've never had any issues with them. They are very professional. There's never a problem. You deposit money, 2 seconds later it's in your account. You withdraw, which I do very occasionally, and I believe it's also 2 seconds it's in your account.
Welcome back to the studio for the third race, which is a maiden plate for fillies, also up the lane at Hollywoodbets Scottsville, 1,200 metres, and it kicks off the first leg of the big one, the pick six. The man who called it the big one is sitting on my left, and the race is at 13:40, 1:40, 20 to 2. And what have we got for you? We've got Jazz Cafe rerun when she ran fourth, and we've got Dawn Surprise for you when she ran third. They were both in the same race, so therefore it'll be one rerun, 2 horses.
Dawn Surprise, One Smart Cookie, now being asked to go and win the race past the 200. Here's One Smart Cookie and Nellie Melba past the 200. One Smart Cookie, Nellie Melba. Nellie Melba's finding extra though, and Nellie Melba with those blinkers on will repel One Smart Cookie. Dawn Surprise, Jazz Cafe took off.
Okay, that's the rerun. Thanks very much. Jazz Cafe, had her first run back from a bit of a layoff, D's, and she ran a good race. She started as favourite, this filly, on debut. So, you know, they're obviously rate her. She's obviously showing good work at home. Robbie Hill's engaged a visiting rider, Diego Digavea, to ride. Nice to see Diego in town and doing a bit of travelling. Certainly a talented young rider is Diego. So Jazz Cafe deserves a mention, and a big one at that. Over the page, 10 Dawn Surprise, Alan Mellor's horse for Gary Rich. She's certainly going about her business the right way. She ran a fair race last time. She got a little tight. She got squeezed. She did get a little tight, but I don't think you know, anything that was too bad to really restrict her chances. I think she'll be one of the leading contenders. And then D's just number 4, Flying Rainstorm. To be honest with you, I thought after her fair debut that she would have won by now. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh on her because she's only had a handful of starts, but she deserves a mention and she deserves inclusion. Wendy Whitehead's horses are in good form. You can see in the official winning form publication that I'm looking at, last 30 runners for Wendy have yielded 7 winners and 4 places, so she's flying. And then just a special shout out and mention to Frikkie Krailing, who's joined the trainers' ranks now, Dees. Absolutely fantastic. We've bumped into Frikkie Krailing a few times at the race course when they've brought horses here to Gallop. And Sean Veal's the pilot. This is a Rafif out of a Woman's Way, and we all remember A Woman's Way. And Blue Sky Thoroughbreds own her and breed her. They've set up a bit of a breeding, training, etc. operation. And we wish Frikkie Krailing and the entire team all the very best. So we'll have to keep an eye out for Kalonji. I have seen her at the course in the parading when she's been preparing for a gallop. I haven't seen the gallop, but she's a beautiful, beautiful filly by Rafif out of a Varmare. So it'll be interesting to see how she goes on debut.
Yeah, but you know, Frikkie brings a wealth of experience behind him from the early days of Mike de Kock. We remember the great horse Chestnut that he travelled with around the globe. So, yep, Frikkie Krailing. He's tried his hand, you know, training before, and of course with the Glen Cotson. So the experience is definitely there. And let's see what happens. As Warren mentioned, it's something new, and not ventured, never gained. So number 5, Kalonji. Yep, we'll possibly bump into Frikkie Krailing on course. I haven't seen him in a while. I don't know the average age that, you know, possibly listens into all these previews, but I'm sure it's a spread from young to old. The reason I say this is because there's lots of things that I still have old school, Warren. And I mentioned to you, you know, the one thing that Hollywoodbets cured me of is the number barrier position, because that was something that I had to include. If the number matches the barrier position, it has to go into my pick 6. But now we know what happens in the Western Cape and KZN when it comes to number and barrier position. So I'm over that. But certain things that stick with you, and the one thing, you know, from going with my dad to the races, especially Hollywoodbets Scottsville, which was just around the corner from home, is that no gin, no win. That was it. And this horse is now a proper Alamite strike, number 2, Jazz Cafe. And the boys are going to be taking this 28-10. That's not going to last. I can guarantee you that. Because just for you, maybe you're starting off your racing career as a punter. You're a young man or a young lady and you're listening into this. Before, it was never declared in the form guides, the limited form guides that were available to racegoers. And I'm talking about the 80s now, when I used to go to the track with my dad. There was no declaration of Alamites or blinkers. You had to be at the course in order to see it. And that's where it was shouted out by punters that noticed it in the parading, whether the steels were changed to Alamites. But now it's declared, and this is an Alamite strike, which basically means it ran with the steel shoes last time out.
And ran very well, too.
Ran an excellent race, coming off a layoff. Coming off a layoff, Warren, that was a very good run in a highly competitive field, which personally I think this is weaker than the one she ran in last time out, when I look at the maiden fields. And I look both of them up, with all due respect to this field, I think last time out looked more competitive. So Jazz Cafe, the gin strike, will be a top choice for me. And Serena Moodley, if you're wondering why he's not riding, well, he's on a 2-week suspension, and he'll be back riding on the 26th of February, Warren. So this horse at 28-10, Robbie Hill has engaged the services, as Warren mentioned, of Diego de Gavea. I think that if you're looking for a pick 6 banker and you want to go in early, you want to know your fate early, then you can plan for the rest of your meeting. I would go with number 2, Jazz Cafe. The only other danger that I've picked out is number 10, Dawn Surprise, who comes from that same form line behind Nelly Melba. And the one thing about To the Stars and Back, Warren, coming off a layoff after the run on the 22nd of May, on the 3rd of December, look at the betting support that came for her. From 16-1 into 33-10. The improvement was there. Good run. And then after that run, favorite last time out, no show. So, it is something about, I just think it's to do with, wellness. That's the way I'd like to put it. Because that layoff was there, and it was a long layoff from May to December. So, I don't know what happened last time out. But the fact is that this horse being punted just tells me something that there must be something there.
She is a beautiful filly. I think.
Is it the breeding problem?
I think we stand to be corrected, and anybody from the Carlisle family who own this horse and Mark Dixon's stable are more than welcome to contact us and correct us. But I do believe it is a breathing issue. And in its
that time off was it they tried to rectify it with an op, or I don't know. It was really nice to chat to Marco Haley.
Yeah, I'm not sure if she had an op. Or they've just tried to rectify it and give her some time and some rest. But I think it could have been the op. She's a magnificent specimen. We'll see her in the parade ring on Sunday. She's by Lancaster Bomber out of a Trippy mare, Trippy's girl.
Because you see the betting and it keeps you interested.
I mean,
there must be something there.
Absolutely. And they've had Gavin Lorena, Craig Zaki, Richard Ferree. They've put serious riders on, so they obviously expect her to do well. But the excuse in her last start was handy respiratory noise. So I think, and in her debut respiratory noise, I'm almost certain it's breathing. But we can confirm all that if we are wrong. I would throw her in. I would put her in. I wouldn't leave her out. But she obviously has issues.
Okay, for the pick 6, if it's not number 2, do you agree the cover could be just 6 and 10? Or would you want to include number 4 as well?
I think we have to include the 4, D's the Flying Rainstorm, because Wendy's in such great form, and so is Calvin Habib. But I'm going to be with you. No gin, no win. I'm going to be with the Jazz Cafe. But as you say, for those that don't want to bank a Jazz Cafe, you wouldn't need to put more than 4, 6, 10. 2, 4, 6, 10.
Yeah, I think
but we bankering. We bankering.
Yeah, we're going to take a chance. I mean, you'll have to take 2 perms. Sometimes you just want to. I'd rather just know my fate and then I know how to play the rest of the day, because you often get influenced by your pick 6 play on what you're playing for the rest of the day. And if you're a racing fan or a punter, you know exactly what I mean. Do you follow your pick 6, or do you have a go on the head when you got 3 or 4 runners in a race and you like a horse to have a go? What do you do? Because you're running in a pick 6 that's paying handsomely. Do you go against your pick 6 with that thought process, or do you have a go? So maybe know your fate early. Race number 3. Maybe have a go on number 2, Jazz Cafe. I'm not going to let Warren Inferno off the hook. I'm going to ask him a few of his quirkies, as I call it, that he's picked up along the way in racing. But let's move along to race number 4.
My name's Danny Diliberto, founder of Ladles of Love. It was founded back in 2014. Communities we work with are all over the peninsula, and we're working with 138 beneficiaries now. We've grown exponentially. We've been able to do that because of all the kindness that we have experienced from individuals and corporates such as Interbet, who just want to be part of the change.